Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. So I recently made a poll on YouTube asking all of you wonderful people what game I should do first between Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Rainbow Six Siege. Now I 100% expected everyone to just say Rainbow, but somehow Odyssey won it. And that's why today I tortured myself with some of the longest gaming sessions I've ever done to get this platinum complete in one of the fastest times possible. The Assassin's Creed Odyssey Platinum Trophy is one of the longest in the series, coming in at 70 hours on the guide. I think the longest is Valhalla, but I did that months ago, so God bless. What makes this game so long is the main story and level 50 trophy. But before we continue, I'm just gonna let you all know that if you go for this platinum, literally just buy the 50% XP boost right away and you can save insane amounts of time. I didn't do that till a little bit after the story, but still, it's literally cheating. There's a total of 51 trophies in the game, so there actually isn't a ton, and most are related to the story missions and side missions in general. But the first step to the platinum and the main goal is to just beat the main story as fast as you possibly can, or you can enjoy it if you want, but we don't have time for that. The sub count is getting near tattoo level and I'm beginning to get afraid. So it first opens up with us playing as random important characters in an initial battle to show us how combat works and also set up some game lore for the story. The main premise for Assassin's Creed Odyssey is that your main character gets abandoned from Sparta and their family as a child, and then we basically train her whole life to get revenge and make things right, while also stopping evil people on the way. And the first trophy pops almost instantly into the game once you complete the first battle, which is very unexpected. We then got to see the present day storyline, and I'm not gonna lie, this Assassin's Creed game has the worst real life storyline I've ever seen out of any. It's actually so bad. But then again, I never cared for that anyway, just let me kill people. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, you then get to play as the main character of the game, and I chose a girl this time because I'm tired of watching a guy's ass run around all day and would rather look at a girl's. But the next few trophies I got were all in my inventory for just equipping items and stuff. First being from equipping a legendary sword that I had, and then a double trophy pop from equipping a full set of armor that is all the same theme, and also for it just being all legendary tier in general. The next trophy I would get is then from just completing the final story chapter in the game. This first chapter takes us on some initial missions, just sort of setting things up, but with no real story impact taking place. We were after this poor guy named Cyclops though, who gets bullied for only having one eye, and we made sure he wouldn't get bullied anymore because I hit him so hard with my weapon that I think he went flying away straight to Valhalla, since he was nowhere to be seen after. Right after that first chapter's trophy pop, we also are now off to the main areas of the game and got our ship with the crew, captain, and all that fun jazz on it. The sea battles in this game, by the way, are actually very good, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey's gameplay overall is amazing in my opinion. One of the most fun gameplay I've ever seen from an Assassin's Creed game yet. And my next trophy was just from recruiting a person to be one of my special lieutenants on my ship. You find these people all over the game and get most from certain quests the game tells you to do. This second chapter of the story then focused much more on conquest battles as a new thing you can do. These occur once you have destabilized an area of the game, making it vulnerable for attack or defense if you choose that. Usually attacking it is harder, which gives more rewards, so I think everyone just chooses that one. But the next trophy I got was just from engraving my first item in the game inside of the blacksmith shop. Engraving an item gives it a special reward and perk that does additional damage, or adds a special effect like fire tipped swords or chlamydia dipped arrows. I then had to do one more conquest battle before actually getting to meet the leader of the Spartans where we are, and that same leader is my quote-unquote father. I think later on we find out he's actually not or something, but we killed the guy and got a trophy, so yeah, I'm a little confused, but that's fine. Chapter 3 of the story then begins, and it's by far the fastest because it lasted like 30 minutes and just had us infiltrate a cult meeting and pretty much just spy on what's happening. We did get caught in the act though by Deismos, who I think is also our brother, but I might just be making that up. And there's the chapter 3 story trophy, also introducing us to the cult of Cosmos, which is another big grind we're gonna have to tackle later on because you need to take out every single cult member in the game for trophies. Awesome. So that is basically all the story setting up done now. We have been introduced to every type of mission, the cult, and now get to see just how long the story can be. Chapter 4 took me around another 4.5 hours to complete, and I got numerous trophies within that time. Also, I didn't really understand the storyline for this chapter, but we had to take over a bunch of places, and I actually spent most of my time just doing side quests to level up because that's the main challenge for the main storyline, actually being a high enough level to even start it, since the story chapters jump up multiple levels every single time. Anyways, my first trophy in this chapter was actually from the only missable one in the entire game. It's from seducing someone and getting to secure that W. But if I'm being honest, this shouldn't even be missable because our character is one horny son of a bitch and tries to bang pretty much everyone she sees. Sounds a lot like my ex-girlfriend. I then participated in some more conquest battles because aside from that being needed for quests and cult leaders, they also give a very good amount of XP and are fun to do in general. But I finished my first one outside of the one we had to do for the story and got a trophy. I also upgraded my hull on the ship for the first time, which is another trophy in addition. And then I went on the sea to battle some people and ended up ramming into a ship so hard that I cleaved it in half for yet again another trophy pop. And for a quest an hour later, I also had to do another sea battle, but this time it was against an epic ship, which you can tell because it looks special needs. Anyways, these are essentially just harder, stronger, and faster than everyone else, but I did end up sinking it and only tickled Death's nutsack a little bit, getting another trophy. And for the final mission in the chapter 4 storyline, we actually got to change out of the Spartan warrior outfit and just dress up all nice and converse with complete drunk rich assholes at a summer party. What a fun time. Chapter 5 then began, and sadly this time I didn't get a bunch of trophies within my time of suffering and just spent 3 hours straight dying inside before completing it. But chapter 5's main goal was us trying to find out where our mother is because we already found Papa and he was a disappointment. So hopefully it's better this time with Mommy. And we ended up meeting a pirate leader named Xena who said she knew our mom and even knew her name. But she also said she needed 15,000 gold for us to get help from her. And I was broke, so that's just evil. Which is also why it took me quite a bit to get all the coin I needed for her to say anything. Low-key though, that's kind of messed up. Can't you just help out an orphan? Goddamn. Anyways, that was only the beginning of the chapter, but it ended with us battling a monger in front of a big ol' audience of people. Now if you notice, I'm not a high enough level to fight this dude, which is why he is red. So I just shot arrows at him for literally 10 minutes straight until finally killing the guy, which after killing him would end up popping me the story chapter's trophy. Chapter 6 then was also super fast, and we basically just saw as Athens' leader guy got taken out pretty harshly by Dismos, the cult brother from earlier. And we then had to obviously fight a little bit, but it wasn't a long chapter at all, and here's the trophy. I then got to battle some leadership on the sea, but the leader's area was also completely crumbled down to 0, so I got a trophy from basically kicking a man while he was already down. Chapter 7 was also very long, and it's kind of the last chapter that has real length because the final one sort of just wraps up the story. But before getting the chapter 7 trophy, I did end up finally exposing my first major cult leader. You have to take out their entire branch to get to them, and if you've played Assassin's Creed games, you probably remember how this works, but you pretty much have to take out the minions before the Gru, if you will. My next trophy then had me solve this Sphinx's riddle for some story quest. I honestly can't remember why we did this, but I also think it might have been a side objective. Then again, I have no idea. But you had to actually listen and solve 3 riddles from it, then go find the picture for them, and if you choose wrong, you just died. I did do that, by the way, obviously. Anyways, I figured it out eventually, so there's that trophy. I would then end up getting in a ton of fights because I had a troubled childhood, as we all know. I mean, I was abandoned from both my parents and my people, so that's awesome. But I killed so many men in broad daylight that I reached max mercenary 1 level, meaning I am just gonna get aimbot hunted by this game's AI for the rest of time. And it's also a trophy. I then got a trophy right after when I completed some fistfighting tournament and won. Low-key not hard at all, but it was cool, and there's the trophy. I then got to fight Dismos in the finale of chapter 7, and sadly I was under-leveled because I was rushing the story, as we all know. But I did hold my own, mostly just thanks to the bow and arrow, which is so broken in this game. Anyways, the fight ended with us not actually killing him, and he got away, which kinda sucks. But I did still get a trophy. He also threw us in jail, which was a dick move, to be honest. I can't go to jail, man. Just look at me. I wouldn't survive in there.
Kiss me on my hot mouth.
I also got a trophy right after for just upgrading a skill to its full capacity, that being 3, and there's the trophy. Chapter 8 then literally just consisted of us doing some final battles, and one was a conquest battle on a beach, which was low-key a vibe, I can't lie. But then there was one more mission, and this is the finale for the main story, and the last one that has a trophy at least. And it's of course a battle against Dismos again. This time though, we did take him down for good and also finish the main story, getting the final trophy from that. So it's basically cleanup stage now because there really isn't any specific way to go about this, which is nice, yet it's also a bit confusing to get going. My main method was to just try and level up as fast as I could while going for other trophies within the list. First one I went after was from finding all of the underwater treasure in the game. These are little shipwreck objectives that are mostly by docks in the game itself. Some are just in the middle of the ocean though. But you basically just have to swim down, open 1 or 2 chests, and you're good to go. So that didn't take too long at all, especially not with the help of the good old collectible maps that this game has. I then did a fast trophy which just had us go back to the first area of the game and hunt goats around the area, because if you remember, the first boss in the entire game was named Cyclops because he only had 1 eye, and a goat took out the other one. So I had to hunt down goats here until getting a lucky drop of his eye and a trophy. My next trophy was then from just fully exploring the entire map, which actually took a long time because some areas are super tiny and hard to tell if you've actually explored them or not, but you thankfully don't need to get viewpoints or actually find all the POIs. Just simply having the area show up on the map will do for the trophy. I then began doing some actual storyline trophies from side quests, first being from completing the entirety of the Daughters of Artemis questline. These side stories are usually not very long, to be be honest, and also not super hard to do. But this one ended with me battling the final boss, which was the current leader, and I won easily. It actually felt kind of abusive because that was not a fair fight at all. Anyways, there's the trophy. I then did the Hippocrates storyline after, which had us help him get a bunch of medicine supplies and stuff. Overall, it was lame, and there's the trophy. I also then got to return back to Xena, the pirate lady from the main story who needed help and had an entire quest line herself. I can't remember at all what we did for her though, aside from me getting rejected multiple times, but she definitely doesn't look like someone who would be into tiny white girls, so it makes sense. I then decided I was high enough level by now to really grind out mercenaries to become the first one, or the best, I guess. This is actually super easy to do since the mercenary section of the game, you can just mark the next guy, go kill him, and then continue on like that. So thankfully you don't have to wait for them to find you, and there's that trophy. I then continued on with the battling, and I went to the arena to finish up the last few fights I had here. Yes, I was under leveled, and yes, I still took names and kicked ass. So there's the trophy from that. Oh yeah, I also finally fought the Minotaur, and this might be the only boss fight I've done the entire game where I've been above leveled, and it was easy. So yeah, there's the trophy from fighting the Minotaur. There's actually a few trophies in the game from fighting these bosses, by the way, which is pretty cool for an Assassin's Creed game to try and have fun for once. Speaking of bosses, I fought and killed Medusa right after. Shout out Percy Jackson movie, you deserve better. I always think of this scene when hearing of Medusa. Anyways, this game's version of her was kind of odd. You don't really die when looking at her, you just get slowed down, so it's kind of lame. But I did get her, and there's that trophy. I then returned back to the arena to battle a mercenary there because I forgot to earlier, and the person I got paired up with was again lower level than me because I am a god, and yeah, the fight was so fast I actually think I could last longer. So there's the trophy. I then simply got a trophy from just making my entire ship's crew all legendary. Very simple and very easy trophy. And this entire time while playing in the cleanup, I have been grinding side quest missions on these islands that are also specific for this trophy right here. You just had to complete 20 total. I then got 2 trophies almost back to back. First for reaching level 50 finally, and then for engraving my legendary sword with a legendary engraving myself. So yeah, we have finally finished the level grind, but the platinum grind isn't quite done because I still have some horrible trophies left to do. Mostly being from this one called Lord of the Seas. It requires you to upgrade the ship to legend status, meaning everything needs to be legendary upgraded. And it takes like an insane amount of resources, gold, and willpower to continue. So for the next 7 hours of my game's playtime, I was literally just grinding resources and bounty quests to get gold, but the first trophy I got in this insanely long recording session was from cleaving a ship with an all-girls crew. Honestly, not hard to do, you just have to equip a girl cosmetic team, so it's actually kind of dumb now that I think about it. Anyways, I then upgraded the spear to its max level, which is done from also taking out every single cult member in the game, because they drop little artifacts and stuff. I've also just been grinding them here and there throughout the game if you didn't know. And the final cult member in the game was just some frail evil lady that I killed in one special move attack. Insanely underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. I finally battled and killed the Cyclops in this game. I'm not sure why I didn't do this earlier, but the trophy was hidden near the bottom of the list, so I honestly just didn't see it. But the fight isn't that hard, and there's that trophy. I was then grinding out more bounties for a trophy, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not doing these earlier because they give a load of XP and gold, and they usually aren't hard at all. So I would highly recommend just grinding these out when you can because they are super helpful in terms of leveling. But I finished my 20th one right here, and my controller was also dying, so that's great. And my final trophy before the ship upgrade was one just from using the overpower skill with every weapon type, and you can do this simply by just farming it with a ton of enemies like I did right here, and there's that trophy. So the fully upgrade ship trophy, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it took me forever, and yes, I did also record for 6 hours straight without getting up to do anything else. And yes, I am now dead inside. But I finally got all the resources I needed and only cried a small amount while doing it. So there's the final trophy of the game and the platinum right after. Also, here's the amount of time it took me to platinum according to PlayStation, which might be accurate, but also might not. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, what a game, honestly. I think this might be one of my most favorite Assassin's Creed games I've played yet. Also gonna give it props for still being fun besides having a basically meaningless story and super tedious trophies, which is why I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. The gameplay, as I've said, is some of the most fun I've had in a while. And since I personally don't really care about game stories in terms of lore, since I'm basically just trying to platinum them as fast as I possibly can because I find that fun for me, I didn't care at all that the game's story was bad. It genuinely does not matter. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for the support in the videos. It means the world, and I'll see you all in the next one.